Okay, mwalimu, you're up in 3, 2, 1 and go.
Hello viewer, you're watching Elimu TV where we watch and learn. I will invite you to Form 1 Chemistry, Lesson 4, Introduction to Chemistry. Our discussion today is laboratory safety rules. I hope you're going to enjoy the lesson. Before we begin our lesson, I would like you to get in touch with me by giving your comments or questions on the number 40007. You can also get us on our Facebook page, Elimu TV, and also follow us on Twitter at Elimu TV _KE. So, welcome and enjoy your lesson. Now, we want to begin our lesson by looking at the specific objectives, and before that, I'm going to be your teacher, Benjamin K. Makanda. So, stay with me. Now, let's begin by looking at the specific objectives of the lesson. And by the end of this lesson, the learner should be able to state and explain the various laboratory safety rules. We are going to discuss a number of laboratory safety rules. So among them, once we conclude our lesson, you should be able to state and explain these various laboratory safety rules. Now, how is our lesson going to proceed? What's the order of our lesson? So this is our lesson preview. The first thing we have to do, we want to review lesson number 3 that we did the last time we met, and briefly just to discuss something about lesson 3. One, we looked at the setup of a laboratory. We defined what a laboratory is, and we said laboratory is a special room where practicals and laboratory apparatus and equipments are kept. We also looked at some of the equipments or apparatus used in the lab. We named them. We classified the apparatus as those ones used for heating, to provide source of heat. We also mentioned apparatus that are used for measuring volume, and then we called them volumetric apparatus. We also looked at various other apparatus that are used in the lab, including conical flask and all that. So in this lesson, we are going to state and explain the various laboratory safety rules, so that in these safety rules, they will help you understand how you can use the lab apparatus that we discussed in lesson number 3, and how you can be able to operate within the lab. A laboratory has its own rules that we have to follow, so that we do practicals or experiments in a safe way without actually causing accidents. So that's going to be the main objective of this lesson. We are also going to give an assignment at the end of the day, at the end of the lesson, just to assess your understanding of the discussion that we would have done. Now, we want to begin our lesson by having a brief overview of safety in the laboratory. So, why do we need safety in the laboratory? And why do you think safety is very significant in any practical, in the lab? So, safety becomes very important because whenever carrying out an experiment, it should not be assumed to be completely harmless. Not all experiments done in the laboratory are assumed to be harmless. Any experiment conducted in a lab has its own dangers. It can actually harm, so they are not harmless. So that assumption, we should not assume that way. The other thing that we have to note about safety in the laboratory is that even the experiments that appear simple should be regarded as a potential source of danger. You are just doing a demonstration in the lab, and maybe you assume that demonstration is very simple, it cannot pose any danger to you. You have to do it with a lot of caution and be very careful, so that it may be one of the potential source within the lab. Just a simple demonstration can cause an accident in the lab, so that one has to be noted. The last point that we have to note about safety in the laboratory is that all chemicals and apparatus should be handled with care. For example, if a piece of a glass apparatus is handled carelessly, it may break and injure the user. So you know, glass apparatus, they are very delicate, and if they are handled without care, then they are likely to break, and in the process they can even cause injuries. They can cut the users and all that. So these glass apparatus should be handled with a lot of care. Some of the chemicals in the lab, they are very corrosive, they are very reactive. They may land on your skin and cause a lot of harm, including the acids that we use in the lab. So these are some of the 3 key safety points that we have to note wherever we are in the lab. We don't have to make assumptions. Actually, in science, we don't make assumptions. We go with the facts. Now, as a result of this, we want to have various demonstrations that will help us understand safety in the laboratory. So I hope you're going to enjoy and participate in these demonstrations. So let's have a look at this. Right. So from the demonstration we've just had, you note that the emphasis is the same, safety. Just to highlight some of the things you have just seen from the demonstration is that in the laboratory you're not supposed to run, and you've seen what can happen if you run in the lab. Equally, in the lab you're not supposed to eat or drink because some of the chemicals used in the laboratory are dangerous, they may harm us. We're also not supposed to actually just put on any attire in the laboratory. There are specific attires that you're supposed to put in the laboratory for your own safety. So the demonstrations are actually emphasizing on the safety in the lab. Now, having gone through the demonstration, I hope you have understood the demonstration very well, and now we are now able to discuss these questions that we have here. We want to look at what we can be able to do just to help us understand the demonstration that we have seen. Now, we have an assignment, and here I want you to state 5 safety rules that should be observed while in the laboratory. State 5 safety rules that should be observed while in the laboratory. You will score 5 marks for this. These 5 safety laboratory rules that are observed in the laboratory, you have already observed them, so it's just a matter of memorizing and then writing, so that when we meet in the next lesson, we should be able to discuss them. Now, because our lesson was all about safety, I have this one for you. Let's have a look at this quote of the day. That word in red is safety. So, in full, what does it mean? Seek safety, aim safety, follow safety, ensure safety, teach safety, yield safety. So, the day was all about safety. Have a good day, and for your comment and concern, you can use our Facebook page, Elim TV. You can also follow us on Twitter at elimu_ke, and also SMS your question on the number 40007. Up to there, I've been your teacher, Benjamin K. Makanda. Until next time, continue watching and learning on Elim TV. Thank you.